support, guide, and join alumni to share advice with our listeners. So on today's episode, welcome a very special guest who has traveled a long distance from Montreal, Canada to join us today. Welcome, Quincy!
Hi.
So thank you so much for joining us today. So firstly, to start off our episode, would you like to introduce yourself and the major you currently study?
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. So thank you guys for hosting this. My name is Quincy, or Quynh. Right now, I am a third-year finance student at Victoria University in Montreal, Canada. I was also in ISB alumni. I was a class of 2021. So it's been a while, to be honest. So very excited to be here, sitting next to Jessie, a very pretty host. So yeah, very happy with our conversation today.
Okay. So before we get to the main discussion, we always bring like two different types of cookies for our guests to try. So we have this is the macadamia cookie with like chocolate chip and macadamia nuts, and then we have cranberry walnuts. If I'm not wrong. So
I'll try the cranberry because I really like cranberry.
It's a very healthy choice.
I hope so. Oh, it's really good.
Oh, really? Okay, so let's begin today's episode. So to start us off, knowing that you're currently majoring in finance, could you share why you decided to choose this major in the first place?
Well, honestly, I feel like it started when I was in high school. So I was in the IB program, like most of you will eventually enter. And then at that time, I didn't know what finance was, and then when you think about finance, you think about like, I don't know, money, or, I don't know, it involves a lot of money, right? But then at that time, I didn't know what finance was, and I was like, okay, money. But then during my IB year, I know that, okay, I'm good at math, and I'm good at business. So I was taking math HL level, and business also HL higher level. So, you have math and business, and then you add them together and you have finance, it's still a little bit of like business involved, and there are a lot of numbers involved.
So I was wondering, did you choose the major first or the university first? Because I think both are quite difficult decisions.
Well, I feel like, personally, I chose my major first because I felt like when I was applying for university, the Canadian system works kind of differently from the US one. For Canada, there are a lot less universities. So I feel like for me, I can at least narrow down one of my few top choices. But I feel like in Canada, another question that you have to ask is that it will get really cold during the winter. And then, for example, in Montreal, it can get as cold as negative 40. I know. So if you can't really handle the cold, you have to think about, Vancouver, right? Where there is less snow, or maybe the busy, the hustling life, there's Toronto. So I feel like for Canada, it works a little different. You think about, what city you go to, there are three main cities like Vancouver, Toronto, or Montreal, and then you look at these schools in there. So that's where I started.
So, well, you also said that you have an interest in finance since IB, but then, for instance, during college, do you know? Because I think finance is still kind of a broad topic.
It's very broad. Yeah. I'm still like, what the hell is this? What is it? But yeah.
Can you recall when you started having an interest in this particular topic?
I feel like I was very lucky, at least that's what I thought, because I felt like, first of all, I have a very good foundation from IB, so it gives me a broad idea of what I'm getting into. And then the thing about my school is that it's a 4-year program, and then for business students, during the first 2 years, all the business students take the same classes. It's the introductory classes. So everyone, it's I took an intro marketing class, an accounting intro class, a finance intro class, and then you can declare your major after your second year. So I only take my major classes starting my third year. So I have my first 2 years exploring and then testing out which one really suits me. And that's when I took this intro to finance class, and that's when I really understand what finance was. So it was honestly very recent for me. Before that, I was like, what is even finance? So don't worry if you're still figuring out and you don't know what you're getting.
So discussing about one's struggle when choosing a university major, I find most people struggle with the fact that there are so many different majors you could possibly take. So did you face like any similar issues?
To be honest, I felt like I should say that I do. So there was like more plot to the story, and there were like a lot of ups and downs, a lot of self doubts. But I don't know why for me it's always been fine from the start. But I know I'm not like it's not always happen. It doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
But at least for me, to be honest, it's always finance from the start because like math and business, there aren't so many like choices we have, right? Like finance, accounting, maybe. So I would say it's pretty straightforward for me. Yeah, honestly.
So, actually, I think for me, I struggled choosing a major partially because I was thinking about the career path in the future, and I think many faces like the same issue. So, do you think that like students should consider their career path when choosing a major?
Well, I think it's always a good idea to keep that in mind. You don't have to like know right away which major you have to do or what career, what job later on you will be doing for the rest of your life, because we're talking about like 10, 20-year plan, right? Everything changes a lot. What I can say is that during your high school years, you can just even like pay focus to what you like or dislike in your subjects. For example, I know I'm always like really into math, so I do keep that in mind. Okay, it's okay. I do notice that I have a thing for math and business, so I keep that in mind. I obviously know from the start that I cannot become like a writer or like a journalist, so I also keep that in mind, or maybe always open yourself up to new opportunities. Because during my IGCSE, I was taking like double science courses, and during my IB, I was also taking like chemistry higher level and like biology SL. So you'd be like what? Wow. Such a weird.
Biochem.
Yeah, right. Such a weird combo, right? Yeah. You have like math, business on one side, and you feel like you look into this girl, and you have math and business HL. You're like, oh, she's definitely going into business. Yeah. And oh my god, she's also taking like chemistry HL and bio SL. Like, what is it combo, right? But I feel like it's a good idea that I'm always like opening myself up to new opportunities and never like feel like, oh my god, like I will not do this, or I'll be in like finance forever, because I know if one day I become an actress, I'm not even surprised. So yeah, that's what I can like say from my personal experience.
Out of curiosity, have you considered like which career you're looking into after graduation?
Well, like right now, I'm in my third year, so I just finished one internship, and my second internship is in like next summer. So I felt like it's also a very good opportunity that during your college years, you have like different internships. It only lasts 4 months, so it's not even that big of a commitment, right? But you can have like a little taste into that job, right? And during that 4 months, you can ask yourself, like, if I were to do this for a few years, will I be okay with it? So I feel like as a college student, yes, like studying is one thing and it's obviously very important. But at the same time, you need to like, I feel like you should like also like look into your career. It's never too late. Start with like 4-month internships, and then after that, you really know like, okay, if I were to sit here from 9 to 5, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, would I be okay with it? Or would I be like, become really dreadful about my job? So right now, as a finance student, and I've done like a few internships, I'm interested in or private equity. But I know like if my answer changes in a year from now, I won't be surprised. Always keeping myself up to new like opportunities.
I'm quite interested in what happened in your like very first internship. Like, how did you get that opportunity?
Well, so my first internship was when I was taking like a summer break in Vietnam. So I applied to this like fund and I got in. So I was like a summer analyst there. I was helping them with like preparing documents. So it started like early. I try to start early But don't be afraid if, during your first internship you don't know a lot, and there wasn't even much that they could give you, right? But even the fact that you're willing to show up and you stay curious and you're not afraid to ask questions, it already shows like you have a really good attitude, and it goes a very long way. My second internship, I worked at this like t-shirts company.
Oh.
Yeah, I was in their financial planning and analysis team. But that's the boring stuff, right? No one want to hear about that. So everyone want to hear about the fact that I work at this t-shirt company, and then I learned a lot, right? I was like, at first I was like, a t-shirt company, like it's so like it's so out of the blue. It's so a lot of people like t-shirts, right? But then after I joined that company, I realized that oh wow, it's actually a very big company. And you think about it, right? Tissues, it's a essential good. Like you cannot live without it. And even like see what happened during the pandemic.
Oh,
everyone was like going crazy for tissues. So I was like, oh, okay, it's actually there's a big market for it. People cannot live without it. And the company is actually doing very well, So I was like, hey, don't be afraid, don't be like scared, or don't discount on any little things that you think are not shiny on the outside, because so that's quite interesting.
During those like internships, what are some like the most memorable moments for you?
Honestly, when you work at a t-shirts company, I don't think there are a lot of like memorable like things you can do. Because it's quite stable. I feel like it's quite stable market,
Yeah.
It's not like I work in like tech or AI.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like one of the very memorable thing is that at first I was quite shy, and I didn't take a lot of initiatives. And then after that, I was given this project, and I really went my way out to like do research on my own. And everyone was like very supportive, and they were really appreciative. And that's why I felt like, oh, okay, even if you're a student, but all the little things that you do go a very long way. And
Oh, that's really nice. I think that internships are really good for like being a career path, but it also kind of preps you for the future, like definitely networking.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, what was your experience in like being able to connect with people already in this kind of like industry?
So I feel like if you're in finance, have you ever heard of the word finance bro?
Yeah.
Right? It's like there's a stereotype towards like finance bro. You wear like water zipper. You talk about like stock, or you talk about like money. It's always exactly investing money, and so I need a lot of finance bro. If you want to think it that way. But I feel like at the end of the day, if you're in college, don't be afraid to meet up new people, and then there are people saying, they give them this negative words or negative expression towards finance bro, but they're actually humans, and we're friends. So I feel like don't be afraid to make new friends, or just come up to them and ask them questions. And then I feel like it also helps me to make friends during my college year, because if you fly half the world away and you're put in this new environment that you don't really have you don't have any friends. So all that little things really help.
That's really nice to hear. So you're in the third year?
Yeah, I'm in my third year.
Yeah, so do you have any plans in the future? Like towards graduation or maybe afterwards?
Well, I feel like, this is a hard question. I feel like I'm still taking my tab. At the moment, I do lean towards asset management or private equity or investment banking. I get really lucky. It's really competitive. But so during my next 2 years, probably gonna apply to a lot of internships. That allows me to really look into explore different options, and then after graduate, hopefully I can secure a return offer from any of my internships, and then continue to work there full time. So that's my plan for now.
Are you planning to work in Vietnam or in Canada?
Wow, another very difficult question though. I feel like this is like a question that a lot of international students constantly face.
Yeah.
And to be honest, for me, I'm still like figuring out like, should I stay in Canada or move back to Vietnam? I feel like for me personally, I want to stay in Canada for 3 years and work there and collect the experience, and probably move back to Vietnam afterwards because like my family's still here, and then my grandparents too. So we have like a really big family. They're still in Vietnam, so I would like to stay close to them. Probably like move to like Saigon or move into Saigon.
Yeah, I feel like Saigon's more like the finance hub kind of.
Yeah, the finance hub. It's a lot more lively, and you want to stay closer to your family, but not like too close. But like close enough.
Yeah. So I'm personally struggling with like kind of thinking about what major I might take for university because like I'm interested in so many different topics.
Okay. Arts,
Science, music, business, everything. I feel like I want to do a bit of everything, and I don't think I'm the only one struggling with that. So do you have any tips or advice for high school students looking at like choosing their future major?
Well, I feel like it's a good thing that if you're in IGCSE, you are able to like take a lot of classes. So I feel like the first thing you can do is just like narrow down your liking or your interest at least. And then during your IB year, you can really ask yourself that which three courses I'll be taking at higher level, because the higher level it's a different type of commitment. I swear it's a totally different kind of commitment. So you really have to ask yourself like which three classes am I willing to take at a higher level, and most likely will be something I will do later on in college. So I feel like it's not a question that you can answer right away, right? But you can narrow it down slowly throughout your years in IGCSE and even later on in life.
Well, I was also kind of curious, like in high school, did you do any kind of extracurriculars that kind of lead you into that like finance business path?
Well, not really. I really want to say I'm those like finance kids that say, oh, I started investing since I was born, or I grew up around finance, or my mom and dad works at this bank. Okay, none of that was true for me. None of that was true for me. It was just math and business. But I mean, I'm really lucky, like very lucky that it worked out for me. But I was not those like students that are like really like fighting for this stuff. But I feel like another reason for me is that I'm not really afraid to like take up the challenges. Like always have this can-do attitude, and you stay curious, and those will pay off.
That's very like the risk taker kind of aspect of the
risk taker. But I mean, exactly. But I feel like business is still like I still consider business to be like a safe choice for me. You have like business, you have like science. I'll be surprised if I end up in art. That will be the real like risk taker.
Oh, I'm also kind of interested in business. So my question is, how did you manage to kind of narrow down business to like this investment banking with finance?
So like I mentioned, the university that I'm in, it's a 4-year program, and during the first 2 years, all the business students take the same courses, right? And it's the marketing introduction class, accounting introduction class, finance introduction class, international business, supply chain, so all aspects of business. And you are required to take that introductory classes every month. So I don't know, it might be a little bit different in the States, but I feel like that's the same system everywhere. I believe so, where during your first or 2 years, you are given the chance to take a lot of introduction like level class, like beginning level class, where you can explore all the options for you. And then after that, you can decide like where from here do I want to go.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so as the episode is kind of coming to an end, I think the perfect kind of exit way would be for Quincy to share some like tips, advice, or words of encouragement to high school students about like choosing majors or about university life in general?
Well, I would say like I don't know, hanging there maybe. But I don't know, like I was not a model student in high school. If you know me in high school, you know I'm always at the library napping, taking naps, and I was always like behind deadlines.
Work-life balance.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I failed like CAS like internally twice. Okay, like I failed on my transcript. I failed CAS, and you're like, how can you fail CAS, right? So I was not like this model student. Okay, but I felt like you really like later on I was like, okay, I need to change my life around. So I mean, it's never too late, and you're still like, if you're still a high school student, don't stress out too much. Enjoy it, enjoy the whole journey as you go, and don't stress out too much. And then there are so many other things except from like school and life, school and career, and they're not everything. And I'm also like learning it, like to balance out all other aspects of my life. I'm going to the gym next year finally for the first time ever. So it's all about the balance. And I was talking like with Miss Kim Soul, and she was talking about this balance, and then so it's very important to keep a good balance in your life. So don't stress out too much. Really enjoy like that's like
Really nice words to encourage advices. So while choosing a university major might feel like the most like crucial important decision of your life,
it's not everything, and you will. I believe you will face like so many other important decisions later on.
yeah, definitely. We hope that Quincy's advice has been able to help you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we wish you nothing but the absolute best with your internships, universities, and stuff. Yeah, we hope that all the students have enjoyed our podcast for today. And this was the Cookie Talk. We'll see you next episode. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.